Thinking differently can change your life. At a railway station in a busy city, there lived a beggar. He survived by asking for money from passengers traveling on the trains that stopped there. One day, while begging, he noticed a tall, well-dressed man. The beggar thought, "This man looks rich. If I ask him for money, he might give me a lot." The beggar approached the man and started asking for help. The man looked at him and said, "You always ask from others, but have you ever given anything to anyone?" Surprised, the beggar replied, "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I have nothing to give. How can I give anything to anyone?" The man smiled and said, "If you can't give, you have no right to ask. I believe in give and take. If you give me something, I'll give you something in return." Then, the man boarded the train and left. The beggar sat there, thinking deeply about what the man said. His words touched the beggar's heart. He wondered, maybe I don't get much because I never give anything back. But what can a beggar like me give? For 2 days he kept thinking but couldn't find an answer. On the third day, he noticed some flowers blooming near the station. An idea came to him. Why don't I give flowers to people who give me money? He picked a few flowers and started his day. When someone gave him money, he gave them a flower in return. People smiled, appreciated the gesture, and happily kept the flowers. From that day on, the beggar began picking flowers every morning. He gave them to those who gave him money. Soon, more people started giving him money, and he noticed a change. However, when he ran out of flowers, fewer people helped him. One day, while begging on a train, he saw the same tall man who had inspired him. The beggar approached him and said, "Today, I have something to give you. Please take this flower and give me whatever you can." The man smiled, gave him money and said, "Well done. You've become a businessman like me." The beggar felt proud. After the man left, the beggar realized something important. I am not just a beggar anymore. I can change my life if I try harder. He decided to take his new idea further. 6 months later, 2 well-dressed men were traveling through the same station. One of them smiled and said, "Do you remember me?" The other man looked puzzled and replied, "No, I don't think we've met." The first man laughed and said, "We've met twice. I was the beggar you once refused to help. Later, you bought flowers from me. But look at me now. I'm a successful flower merchant. I owe it to you." The second man was surprised. "Wow, you've changed so much. How did you do it?" The former beggar replied, "You taught me that we only receive when we give. I started giving flowers to people, and they gave me money in return. With that money, I bought more flowers and eventually started my business. Today, I run a big flower shop." The 2 men shook hands and continued their journey, smiling. This story reminds us of the power of giving and believing in ourselves. Sometimes, we limit our own potential by thinking small, but when we shift our mindset, great things can happen. Giving doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as a kind gesture, an effort, or even a smile. Success often starts with how we see ourselves and what we believe we can achieve. So remember, no dream is too big, and no situation is hopeless if you dare to think differently and act boldly.